here's my review of The Housemaid. I thought that this movie was great. Like, I liked it so much. If I had seen it back in December, it would have made it onto my top 10 favorite movies of 2025. But unfortunately, I did watch it on January 1st. So technically, I did not watch it in 2025. So I'm going to play by my own rules. I don't care. So, but anyways, that's how good this movie is. I think it does a great job of having it has a very great tone in terms of being very creepy and unnerving and constantly just pulling you in different directions of what's really going on here. It does a great job of setting you up, thinking something else is going to happen, and then there's just tons of twists and turns in between. Our basic setup here is Millie, who is Sydney Sweeney's character, is hired by Nina, Amanda Seyfried's character, as a housemaid to do cooking, cleaning, childcare, stuff like that. And right off the bat, you kind of realize that something's a little off. Whether it's when she's just cleaning and then Nina kind of just like pops out of nowhere and then is really constantly very mean to her, and even though like she's the one who hired her, you notice like what's really going on here. And because there's this back and forth, and because of how mean Nina is to Millie, it makes you just kind of feel like, okay, she's crazy. That's where this movie is going. But then, like I said, there's so many twists and turns. And like I said, this is a movie I have to talk about where it's just like, going forward from here, as of right now, I'm going into 100% spoilers because there's so much I need to say, and a lot of it is full of spoilers. So I'm going to go starting talking from spoilers about right now. Well, kind of, I take that back. Actually, so we immediately see how Nina just hates Millie. And her husband, Andrew, obviously is trying to calm her down, and we kind of find out that Nina has had some problems in a psych ward. We know that there's something wrong with her, and Andrew is just saying, you know what, don't worry, Millie, everything's okay, you're not fired, everything's going to be okay. And it does such a great job. Like, we think, okay, so the twist here, or reveal, or whatever, the main gimmick here is that, okay, Nina is crazy, but yes and no. Another thing we also just got to get into is how Millie is not really the most sane person either. So we find out that she was in jail for 10 years for like manslaughter, murder, because of a misunderstanding where she thought that a student of hers was being assaulted, and then she did not mean to kill the assaulter, but accidentally did. And then we see how Nina's using that as dirt, saying, oh, I can get you fired. I can get you put in jail. And there's this constant, like, just puppeteering that Nina has over her that just makes it just so uncomfortable and sickening. But throughout the reveals, we understand why everything is the way it is. And let's get into another big plot of this movie, and that is Andrew, Brendan Sklenar, I'm bad with names. Andrew and Millie having an affair. That is about at the I guess a little maybe 40 minutes or more into the movie. And that is a big plot point, and it just adds more into this, like, wow, this whole story is just messed up. Whether you have this affair, you have Amanda Seyfried being insane, and you kind of, in a way, like, you kind of just want Millie to survive because you just think that she's not safe. And at certain points, it does such a good job of saying, okay, you want Millie to just run away with Brandon because his wife is crazy. But then we get some more twists and reveals. But this part goes on for a while of them just constantly having an affair and dating and all of this behind Amanda's back or Nina's back. And until eventually Nina uses it as leverage. And that's when we're going to get into some really, really big reveals here. And that's what made this movie so good. It just made me go, oh, wow, with each reveal. And so we find out that Andrew is actually like the crazy one. We find out that once Andrew is actually the evil one, and he manipulated Nina into this just twisted, sickening relationship that's very abusive. And because she's been in an asylum, he can pull the strings and say, hey, if you don't basically listen to me, I could put you back in the asylum. And so we find out that Nina actually wanted a very attractive housemaid to become, so basically, so then her husband, so Andrew, ends up cheating on her, and then she can escape. And basically, she can go through all the torture instead of her. And it's just that sickening relationship. And that's when it basically turns into a completely, not like different movie, because it still has the same tone, but like it's almost feels different because the back half of this movie is Millie just being trapped and tortured by Andrew, and us after Millie already escaped, and or after Nina already escaped. I'm so bad with names. And it just constantly keeps you on like, oh, there's so much uncomfortableness in this movie. And then eventually there's another twist where Millie captures Andrew and then uses and tortures him for a little bit. And then you think everything's gonna be fine until Andrew escapes again. And it's just, it has this constant back and forth like of disturbing scenes and uncomfortability like that is at the same time makes you like but at the same time you're like, I'm locked in, I want to know what happens, where is this going. And I just really liked it. And it does put you into perspective on maybe why, okay, Millie, the reason why Nina just wants to get Millie fired just so she could help her in at certain points. And and at certain points she does get fired, and then Andrew's like, don't worry, you're not really fired. She does this. And it just makes you kind of look back at the whole movie and it's like, okay, I understand what's going on here. This movie kind of just gave me everything I really wanted out of it. Like, it's very thrilling. It's a great mystery. The performances are all great. And it's very sickening in a way that just keeps you so interested. Where every little twist and turn, you're like, oh, wait, where's that going to go? Okay. Now the groundskeeper is a part of it too. Okay. And it's filled with all these great twists and turns that just made me absolutely really, really like this movie. Like I said, if I had watched it in 2025, it would have been on my top 10 favorite movies of the year. But really, if you want just a great mystery thriller, this is the movie for you. It has really all of that. Very mysterious, very uncomfortable, and very just sickening and twisted because of just this psychological and like abuse within this movie with Nina and with Andrew. It's just full of great twists and turns. I overall just really liked this movie. I thought it was great.